Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, I'm going to start with a quote. John Wooden, basketball coach for UCLA, and many, many years ago. Not right now. Don't Google him. He's not the coach of UCLA today. It's what you learn after you know it all that counts. I love that quote. So I've been reading this book. Raise your hand if you have this book, right? And if you don't have this book, get this on your reading list, The 12-Week Year. It's an incredible book. Now, before I get into this, there's some different thoughts that I've been having over the weekend as I was thinking about you guys and preparing for this call. I keep hearing that 2021 is going to be a great year, that NAR is expecting the market to stay hot, which is great news, and that the only thing that will hold us back is lack of inventory. In other words, fewer people selling, nobody's selling their house. So if I were a real estate agent and I was concerned about hitting my goals because of a lack of listings, what would be my plan in order to hit my goals regardless of listing inventory? Don't answer the question yet. Remind me at the end. We'll answer it at the end. The other challenge that I have for you is I want to see 2021 take off in the first quarter with record-breaking listings taken by this group. So just a thought, if you were to set a goal based on 3 months, not 12 months, and you were to set a goal for the first quarter of 2021, what would be your listing taken goal? Question number one. Question number one, what would be your listing taken goal? Then, how many of you would be willing to take a $100 KW Cares challenge? Meaning, if you don't hit your goal, you're writing a check to KW Cares for $100. Now, don't answer it out loud. What I want you to do is I want you to put in the chat. All I want you to do is write your goal for the first 90 days of 2021 and write, I'm in, if you're up for the $100 challenge. Now, I'm going to hold you accountable, so don't write I'm in unless you're really in, because you're either going to hit your goal or you're going to write a check. And as a group, we're either going to take a lot of listings or we're going to raise a lot of money for KW Cares, right? There's 43 of you on the call right now. If every single one of you was in on this challenge, you could do the math. It's a lot of money. I'd rather see you hit your goal though. Please don't write a check, hit your goal. All right, so I'm going to go to the 12-week year and I'm just going to share with you some thoughts on what I learned. Thank you, Sarah. I'm proud of you. I'm going to share some ahas with you from what I learned in reading the 12-week year. All right, first of all, if you could fully tap your potential, what might be different for you? And I'm going to go slow because I want you to take notes, guys. And a lot of times, your notes are going to be questions because the quality of your answers depends on the quality of your questions. So ask better questions. If you could fully tap your potential, what might be different for you? How would your life change if each and every day you performed up to your full potential? How would your life change if each and every day you lived up to your full potential? You know, one of my favorite quotes is, all you could do is all you could do. And at the end of the day, all you could do is enough when you've done all you could do. That sounds pretty simple. And yet, how many of us at the end of the day, when we're closing down our workday, can honestly say, I did absolutely everything I can do today. My gas tank is on empty. I've got nothing left. Okay. Quote from Thomas Edison. If we did the things we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. That's interesting. Most of us have two lives. the lives we live, and the lives we are capable of living. Now, none of this is meant as judgment. All of this is just meant to make us think differently. Remember, I can't make you do anything. I wish I could, because I would. All I could do is help you think different. That's all. And then hope that that becomes your secret weapon. All right, I believe that we all deeply desire. It's the life we know. Hold on a second, guys. I messed that up. Okay. Most of us have two lives, the lives we live and the lives we are capable of. In the latter, it's the latter that intrigues me, the author writes. And then he goes on to say, it's the life I believe that we all deeply desire. It's the life that we know exists somewhere deep inside us that we wish we could actualize. At the bottom of the page, knowing alone benefits no one unless the person acquiring it does something with it. You know, Gary Keller in Quantum Leap talks about the difference between knowing for knowing's sake and knowing for doing's sake. If we are on a search for knowledge just to gain knowledge and we do absolutely nothing with it, then it's not doing us any good. It's the doing that counts. All right. Most people have the capacity, now think about this for a second, have the capacity to double or triple their income just by consistently applying what they already know. Despite this, people continue to chase new ideas, thinking the next idea is the one that will magically make it all better. Mm-hmm. In other words, I keep telling you the same thing every single day. The end of every single one of these calls is the prescription to create a massively successful real estate business. And it's so simple that a lot of people are thinking it can't be that easy. I've got to find something else. And it is that easy. It really, really, truly is. And you have it deep within you because I've repeated it to you every day for 8 months. I know I have it deep within me because it's become a script that I've internalized. It's not what you know. It's not even who you know. It's what you implement that counts. Henry Ford said, you can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. Now, what's he talking about? He's talking about intention. And here's the thing about intention, guys. The person who has intention and doesn't do anything with it is the same as the person who never intended to do anything in the first place. The person who intends to do something and actually doesn't do it is the same as the person who never intended to do it in the first place. Now, if you've heard me ask this question and you know the answer, don't answer. But if there's 4 birds sitting on a dock and one of them decides to fly away, how many are left?
4.
Valerie, good job. And that's the answer, guys. And here's why that's the answer. One of them decided to fly away. It doesn't say that the bird decided that the bird flew away. The bird made a decision to fly away. The bird intended to fly away. The bird may have even talked to the other birds about how wonderful it would be to fly away. But until the bird actually takes action and flies away, there are still 4 birds left on the dock. Intention means nothing. Intention without action means nothing. As strange as this is going to sound, annual goals and plans are often a barrier to high performance. Okay, now we're getting into what this book is about. And before you go, wait a second, John. So you're telling us not to set goals? No, that's not what I'm saying. Listen to what I said again. Listen carefully, because words really matter. As strange as this is going to sound, annual goals, page 9, annual goals and plans are often a barrier to high performance. Now, on the very next page, page 10, the author who wrote this book, Brian P. Morin, and Michael Lennington. Cool. Here's the answer to that. The trap is what we call annualized thinking. He goes on to say, discard annualized thinking. So Shauna, that's awesome. 3 listings, cool. Are you in on my challenge? For those of you who jumped on the call since the beginning of the call, which are quite a few of you, the challenge for the first 3 months of 2021 for the first quarter is, how many listings are you going to take in the first quarter? And are you willing to take a $100 KW Cares challenge in order to hit that goal? In other words, are you willing to pay KW Cares $100 if you don't hit your goal? Just put your goal in the chat and I'm in, and we're going to have some fun. Okay, at the heart of annualized thinking is an unspoken belief that there is plenty of time in the year to make things happen. In January, December looks a long way off. We mistakenly believe that there is a lot of time left in the year and we act accordingly. We lack a sense of urgency, not realizing that every week is important. Every day is important. Every moment is important. Ultimately, effective execution happens daily and weekly. Another flawed premise with annualized thinking is the notion that sometime later in the year, we will experience a significant improvement in results. How many of you have done that? I know I have. Second quarter is going to be better. Third quarter is always my best quarter. So, I didn't hit my goal in January, but I'm okay because the third quarter is always my best quarter. Well, what if it isn't? So it took me 16 minutes to get to a football analogy, but just imagine a football coach in the locker room at halftime saying, hey guys, don't worry that we're down by 21 points because the fourth quarter is always our best quarter. Matter of fact, I want you to go out and kind of take it easy in the third quarter. Just give about half your effort, because it doesn't matter if we're down by 28 at the end of the third quarter. We're going to save up everything we've got for the fourth quarter. No, that would never happen. Trust me. We need to become conscious of the reality that execution happens daily and weekly, not monthly or quarterly. Stop thinking in terms of a year. Instead, focus on a shorter time frame. The annual execution cycle blinds people to the reality that life is lived in the moment and that ultimately success is created in the moment. It lulls people into believing that they can put things off. Critical activity and still accomplish what they desire. Every day, we finish this call with what's work. Work is 20 conversations, not 17, not 18, not 19. Because if we settle for 17, because 17 is close enough, and we tell ourselves that we'll make up for the conversations we didn't have tomorrow, we're putting off for tomorrow what we should have done today, and we're not going to make it up. It's a lie. It's a lie that we tell ourselves. Even if we occasionally actually do it over time, it's not true. It's settling. Settling leads to mediocrity. You want to take notes? Write that down. Settling leads to mediocrity. By the way, is mediocre okay? Sure. If that's your goal, then cool. but I'm not talking to you if that's your goal. Okay. Did anybody jump off the call? Good. No one. I'm okay. Nope, we're still good. All right. There's nothing like a deadline to get you motivated. So here's a question for you. What could you do? What could you accomplish in December if you had to? If you had to, if your life depended on it, if the life of someone you loved depended on it, what could you accomplish? What could I accomplish? I promise you it's more than what I did last month. I promise you there's more in my tank. It is amazing what happens when people have a goal and a deadline. Okay, I'm on page 13. Periodization. Periodization. I'll spell it for you. Periodization. Periodization began as an athletic training technique designed to dramatically improve performance. Its principles are focus, concentration, and overload on a specific, I love that word, on a specific skill or discipline. Its principles are focus, concentration, and overload on a specific skill or discipline. Periodization in sports is a focus training regimen that concentrates on one skill at a time for a limited period, usually 4 to 6 weeks. Translate that to real estate. What would be the one skill that we would focus on for the next 90 days that would have the greatest impact on our real estate career? If there was one thing, what would the one thing be?
Lead generation.
Cool. Define lead generation.
20 contacts.
There it is. There it is. Keep going, Camille.
You are so good. I can't. 20 contacts. Get face-to-face with one buyer or seller. Get a referral. Add one person to your database.
You did great. You did great. You did great. It's 20 conversations focused on building relationships, adding at least one person to our database every day, getting face-to-face with one buyer or seller every day, entering those buyers and sellers into our pipeline, and then following up forever.
Yes.
And that's it. It really is just that simple. All right. What time is it? 8:21. Cool. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. That's Aristotle, by the way. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Anytime you see someone who looks disciplined, who is talent, who has a high skill level at any activity, all they've done is create a habit around that activity. That's it. That's all it is, which is awesome because that means all of us can do it. It means that you are not born with the skills that it takes to be a successful real estate agent. You create the habits necessary to be a successful real estate agent. It means nobody on this call has an advantage over anybody else because we all can create the habits that lead to massive success. All right, bottom of the page. It's important to understand that the results you achieve are a direct byproduct of the actions you take. That makes sense. But here's the formula. Here's the golden nugget. Your actions, in turn, are manifestations of your underlying thinking. Ultimately, it is your thinking that drives your results. It is your thinking that creates your experiences in life. It's point far, guys. You've all been the bold. Programming leads to thinking. Thinking leads to feelings. Feelings lead to actions. Actions lead to results. And results lead back to programming. And it starts here. Change the way you think. In the long run, your actions are always congruent with your underlying thinking. When you focus on changing your actions, you experience incremental. When you focus on changing your actions, you experience incremental improvements. However, when your thinking shifts, everything shifts. So here's the goal. Take your 411, your goals for 2021, and tear it up. Now, before you tear it up, I want you to rewrite a 90-day 411. I want you to take your goals for the year, and I want you to rewrite them based on 90 days. Now, here's what that means. If, just so you know, I actually did the work, there it is. If I created a 411 to close 36 sales for 2021, that's my first goal. My second goal is to take 24 listings. And my third goal is to schedule 48 listing appointments. Now that's my goal for the year. Based on those goals, my goals for January would be to close 3 sales, take 2 listings, and schedule 4 listing appointments. Now pay attention. Annualized thinking says if at the end of January we have only sat on 1 listing appointment, we have 11 months to make up for the 3 listing appointment gap. The gap is 3, the goal was 4, we scheduled 1. In other words, we have a gap of 3. We have to make up for that. However, annualized thinking says we have 11 months to make it up. No urgency. Matter of fact, I might tell myself my second quarter is always the best quarter, so I'll make it up in the second quarter, which means February, the goal doesn't change. I still have the same goal of scheduling 4 listing appointments, and I only scheduled 1 the previous month. In other words, I'm going to do the same thing I did in January.
You'll never make the goal.
If you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, that's the definition of insanity. Sorry, did anybody drop off? No, good. Okay, now if we rewrite this using a 12-week 411, the goal now becomes to close 9 sales, take 6 listings, schedule 12 listing appointments. Now, if at the end of January, we've only scheduled 1, no, stop. The goal for January now, sorry, the goal for 12 weeks is to take close 9 sales, take 6 listings, schedule 12 listing appointments. Cool. The goal for January is the same as it was with the annualized 411. It's close 3 sales, take 2 listings, schedule 4 listing appointments. However, if at the end of January, you've only scheduled 1 listing appointment, you still have a 3 listing appointment gap, and now you only have 2 months to make it up. So now the goal for February, instead of it being schedule 4 listing appointments, becomes schedule 7 listing appointments. So I'm going to make up the gap in February. I'm not going to push anything to March because I can't afford to wait, because now things are urgent. Now I'm working February with a mindset of going on 7 listing appointments versus 4. Am I going to be more successful? Yes, yeah. I am. All right, talk to me.
John, I always had a 90-day goal with a month-to-month accountability, and whatever was missed in January was definitely in February.
There you go, buddy. Great job, Eddie. That's why you are massively successful. Love it.
So, and when you said rename it to 90 days, you really meant 12 weeks.
Oh, yeah. 3 months.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, 3 months. Thank you for correcting that. You didn't correct it. You just changed the way I said it. Thank you for doing it. Thank you. Clarity. Clarity is power. 3 months.
Yeah.
I want you to write a 3-month 411. And then at the end of 3 months, I want you to write another one. And then another one. Think about your mindset around setting goals every year. November comes, December comes, and we get excited about creating goals for the next year. We have new life in order to accomplish new goals. And rather than doing that one time a year, you get to experience that 4 times a year now.
Which is so much better.
Yeah, I agree.
John,
Yes.
What's the name of the book and the author?
The 12-week year. The author is Brian P. Moran. So I haven't been reading the chat, and I'm just curious to see how many of you took me up on this challenge, how many listings we're going to take in the first 3 months of 2021. This is going to be so much fun because this group is either going to list a lot of homes in the first quarter of 2021, or we're going to raise money for KW Cares.
Or both.
Or both. So at the beginning of the call, I asked you a question, and the question was, if there's no homes for sale, or if lack of inventory is keeping us from hitting our goals, how can we still hit our goals in spite of how many homes are being listed? I'm going to give you the answer because of time. The answer is make your goal 100% dependent on listings taken. That's the answer. That's it. If your goal is to close 3 deals a month, it's 3 seller listings a month, which means you've got to go get 5 seller listings every month in order to close 3, or 6 seller listings every month in order to close 3. 100% of your goal is dependent on listings taken. Now that's created urgency. Immediately, the way you think just changed. And now it's up to you to go get the listings. Now, before your limited thinking allows you to say, but nobody's listing their home. Get into your MLS and see how many properties were listed in the last 30 days in your market. I promise you it's in the hundreds, if not thousands of homes that are being listed every 30 days. And if your have to is 5 listings taken, if there are 1,000 homes being listed every 30 days in your market, and your goal is 5, are there enough homes being listed for you to hit your goal?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can remove that limited thought. All right, a couple ahas before we check out. I'm going to call on somebody.
I have a big aha that I loved. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. It's so true. And it's so great to have it in words like that, because it's very empowering, because you just have to develop the habit, and excellence is the byproduct.
For everybody, Paige. For everyone, which means you are capable of anything. All you have to do is create the habit that equals the result.
Mine is it's what you learn after you know it all is what counts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Love that. One more. I'm going to call on someone. All right. Let's see. Who do I want to call on? Let's see. Oh, one person jumped off the call. They're like, no, not me.
I'll go.
Thank you.
Most people have the capacity to double or triple their income with what they already know.
Love that.
Yes.
It's inside of you. You have everything it takes. Goodbye, Victoria. You have everything that it takes. It's inside of you. All right, time to get to work. What's work? Work is 20 conversations, not 19, not 18, not 17, because if you settle for 17 conversations, because it's close enough, you didn't have the 18th conversation that could have led to $1 million listing appointment, and you never know because you didn't have the conversation. Every day, focus on making care calls, not sale calls. Build relationships, lead with gratitude, bring value to every conversation. Every day, focus on getting at least one appointment face-to-face with someone who's thinking of buying or selling their home, adding one person to your database, or getting a referral. When you get face-to-face with someone who's thinking of buying or selling their home every single day, and you work 250 days a year, that's 250 people in your pipeline that you are going to follow up with forever, because you reject rejection, because no is not a word that lives in your vocabulary. No simply means not yet. People will never change their mind, but what they will do is make a new decision based on new information. Awesome. All right, everybody, make it a great day. See you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
My
John.
pleasure. My pleasure.